the Office of Student Engagement to talk to you about how you can get involved around grounds. And so before we start that, we wanted you to meet our team.
Oh, slide change. There we go.
Our team is 5 people right now. Our director, Daron Allen, Michelle and Ashley are our assistant directors in the office, and Kelly and I are the program coordinators. And we all, through a joint collective effort, are, engaging in different ways to help everyone on grounds get involved in many different forms and many different varieties. And so we're going to share with you a couple of our tips now.
Yeah, and so we're typically in Newcomb Hall, but like a lot of you, we're all virtual right now, so we're all just working from home. So yeah, super excited to be here with you all today, and we hope this is helpful. And feel free to chat us at any point, kind of throughout the presentation if you have questions. And yeah, we definitely want to make this interactive and fun for you. And yeah, so. Okay, so yeah, we just wanted to start off and kick off and say that there's basically no right or wrong way to get involved at UVA. So whether you're a brand new student at UVA or you're a current student just looking for new opportunities to get involved, there's so many different ways to do it. And I know how easy it can be to kind of fall into that comparison mind trap where you're looking at your peers and you're seeing, others involved in a ton of things, or just a couple of things, or there's so many different ways to get involved and to have a really meaningful, wonderful experience at UVA. And we want that for you, and we want you to be able to find that at your own pace and make connections and friends and learn about yourself and just have fun in the process. And especially now, we know how hard it is to make some new connections and to get involved. So we just really want to encourage you to have fun, and just to any pressure there, just kind of let that pressure go. And yeah, so just wanted to encourage you in that, to have fun with it and look at this as just an opportunity to try some new things and see what's out there at UVA that you might vibe with. So we also wanted to kick off with a basic overview of our student orgs at UVA. So I know for a lot of you, when you're looking to get involved, one of the first things you probably think of is what clubs are there and what does that look like. And there are a few different types of clubs at UVA, but we primarily want to focus on the CIOs. So that's just fancy language. It's contracted independent organizations. The bulk of our clubs are CIOs. There's about 650 to 700 of them. So it's a lot of different clubs. And we call them CIOs because they're basically separate from the university liability-wise. So they really do operate on their own and have an agreement with us to be able to access resources and different things through UVA. So that's why they're called that. So if you see that around, that's what that means. And then our website goes a little bit deeper into special status orgs and agency orgs and a few different types. But at the end of the day, there's just a lot of different types of clubs and opportunities to get involved. And so basic overview, there's about 650 to 700 clubs. We're here to kind of help you break that down so that feels a little bit less overwhelming. But to give you a big picture of what
We're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine James, and I use she, her pronouns. And Kelly, you want to introduce yourself?
And hey, everyone. I'm Kelly Chambers. I also use she, her pronouns.
And we're here from the Office of Student Engagement to talk to you about how you can get involved around grounds. And so before we start that, we wanted you to meet our team.
Oh, slide change. There we go.
Our team is 5 people right now. Our director, Daron Allen, Michelle and Ashley are our assistant directors in the office, and Kelly and I are the program coordinators. And we all, through a joint collective effort, are, engaging in different ways to help everyone on grounds get involved in many different forms and many different varieties. And so we're going to share with you a couple of our tips now.
Yeah, and so we're typically in Newcomb Hall, but like a lot of you, we're all virtual right now, so we're all just working from home. So yeah, super excited to be here with you all today, and we hope this is helpful. And feel free to chat us at any point, kind of throughout the presentation, if you have questions. And yeah, we definitely want to make this interactive and fun for you. And yeah, so okay, so yeah, we just wanted to start off and kick off and say that there's basically no right or wrong way to get involved at UVA. So whether you're a brand new student at UVA or you're a current student just looking for new opportunities to get involved, there's so many different ways to do it. And I know how easy it can be to kind of fall into that comparison mind trap where you're looking at your peers and you're seeing, others involved in a ton of things, or just a couple of things, or there's so many different ways to get involved and to have a really meaningful, wonderful experience at UVA. And we want that for you, and we want you to be able to find that at your own pace and make connections and friends, and learn about yourself, and just have fun in the process. And especially now, we know how hard it is to make some new connections and to get involved. So we just really want to encourage you to have fun, and just to, like, any pressure there, just kind of let that pressure go. And yeah, so just wanted to encourage you in that, to have fun with it, and look at this as just an opportunity to try some new things, and see what's out there at UVA that you might vibe with. So we also wanted to kick off with a basic overview of our student orgs at UVA. So I know for a lot of you, when you're looking to get involved, one of the first things you probably think of is what clubs are there and what does that look like. And there are a few different types of clubs at UVA, but we primarily want to focus on the CIOs. So that's just fancy language. It's contracted independent organizations. The bulk of our clubs are CIOs. There's about 650 to 700 of them. So it's a lot of different clubs. And we call them CIOs because they're basically separate from the university liability-wise. So they really do operate on their own and have an agreement with us to be able to access resources and different things through UVA. So that's why they're called that. So if you see that around, that's what that means. And then our website goes a little bit deeper into special status orgs and agency orgs and a few different types. But at the end of the day, there's just a lot of different types of clubs and opportunities to get involved. And so basic overview, there's about 650 to 700 clubs. We're here to kind of help you break that down so that feels a little bit less overwhelming. But to give you a big picture of what these clubs are about, kind of statistics wise, the bulk of them are for undergraduate students. So there's about 60% that are predominantly undergrad students, and then about 22% grad students, and then some that are a mix of both. And then you can look at the different categories that they're represented. So cultural and ethnic groups make up about 25% of clubs that have that as an identifier for them. About half of groups identify as academic and professional, or social and hobby. And then we also love to emphasize that 70% of CIOs don't require an application or an interview or anything at all. We know some clubs at UVA are really competitive and hard to get into, but the bulk of opportunities, literally 70%, they're just excited to connect with you, to make friends and get you involved with their mission. And so we hope that's a really encouraging number. Like there are so many groups that there are zero requirements whatsoever. Just reach out and they'd love to have you join. And also we know sometimes the barrier can be cost. And so also wanted you to know that about 76% of clubs cost $20 or less for the whole year. So very low cost. We want to make sure that opportunities for you to get involved are super accessible. So that's a really great number too, that clubs are intentionally trying to keep their costs down so that you can join up with them in their efforts. So yeah, and then also the bulk of them, about 53%, say that they accept members at any time. So it's not just now, anytime throughout the year, you can join. Just reach out for more info, and we'll cover that of best ways to reach out and tips and things. And yeah, so this is how often CIOs meet. The bulk of them meet weekly, but some of them meet monthly. So if you're concerned about time commitment, we'll show you how to sort clubs by how often they meet, basically by month, so that if you wanted something a little bit less time commitment, you could look for those and still find ways to connect and engage within UVA. Yeah, and 58% of CIOs ask for less than 2 hours a week time commitment from their members. So they try to keep it pretty reasonable when it comes to time commitment, which is really great. So now Jasmine's going to chat a little bit about how to find orgs and connect with them.
Yeah, so first I'm going to answer the question in the chat really quick. Are all in-person clubs also limited to 6 people or less? No. Quick answer is no. All of them, you are still allowed to join, and they're still allowed to have a large membership base. But if they're planning any in-person events, then that's when the 6-person rule will be enforced. But do not feel limited by that 6-person rule. Like, you can join as many clubs as you would like, only for the in-person meetings. But yes, how to find orgs. So I'll give you our tips. The first is our student engagement platform. It's called @UVA, and to search for student orgs you can use that resource to search for student orgs using keywords or category. This is the easiest and fastest way to find orgs that you may be interested in. And when you log into @UVA, you'll see the organizations tab on our homepage right at the top. Kelly, can you switch to the next slide?
Yep. Here we go.
We got a picture, so we can show you right there where the fun arrow is pointing. And that will direct you to the entire list of CIOs and departments on @UVA, as you can see right there. The second method that we encourage, which is right under that picture, is what we call the student org sorting hat. And that is where you can find orgs based on certain categories or different criteria than you would find them directly on that UVA platform. So that student org sorting hat is a Google Doc that we've compiled, and you can search through things like which orgs recruit members in the spring semester, or how many members are in the org. A little different and a lot easier to find different orgs based on certain categories using the sorting hat as compared to just the regular homepage of @UVA. And the third one, I think will probably be echoed a lot during this presentation, but is through social media. We've been encouraging all of our CIOs to really amp up their social media presence so that they're way more accessible. And visiting their pages is a great way to learn about what events they offer and what content they have, so you can, easily identify if that's something that you would like to participate in or not.
And how about type a 1 in the chat if y'all have logged into @UVA before. Have you heard of that web page? And if you haven't, type in a 2. We're just trying to gauge. It's totally fine if you haven't. Just trying to gauge if that's a website you're familiar with at this point. Okay, awesome, great, seeing someone.
Yay.
So good. I'm glad y'all know what that website is. If you ever need to find it quickly, we do this too. We just Google it, the words AT space UVA to find the page. So yeah, good. I'm glad y'all know where that is and know where to find it. And those are the kind of the 2 key ways on that homepage to find orgs and sort orgs.
Yeah, so another tool that we have, if you're feeling very overwhelmed by that 700 CIO number, which I am, even as I'm working with these orgs, is to use our new tool called the Involvement Calculator if you want some more recommendations. You can also access this calculator on the @UVA homepage, like the arrow is pointing to. It's on everyone's page, and you just click that link and it'll direct you to an application that you can fill out that takes less than 5 minutes, and we'll send you a follow-up email with recommendations in less than 2 days. And if you don't get it in less than 2 days, you can email us. I promise you, we will answer right back. But last semester we had around 600 applications, and we got really awesome positive feedback. So we can revamp the process this semester and make it even better for y'all. So I really highly encourage everyone to use this resource if you're feeling very overwhelmed or you just want like a couple more suggestions. It really doesn't hurt to just get an email from us with some like really personalized selections based on your interests.
Yeah, and it really has been a combo of upperclassmen and first years submitting this, which is really cool. So it's, students of all years just looking for new ideas of like, hey, these are my interests, what's out there. And then the activities fair is coming up soon, which we'll talk about. But just if you want to submit this now, kind of before the fair, some prefer to do that, and we'll try to get those responses back to you. But also, I mean, it will be available all semester, so no rush. I think whenever you feel like you might need it or are looking for it, this tool will be there. So. Yep, and here we go. So Spring Activities Fair, great segue, is coming up. So it's February 7th through 9th, Sunday through Tuesday next week, hosted by Student Council. They do an amazing job every year putting on the fair, and this past fall was the first time they did a fully virtual fair. So if you went to the fair in the fall, they're doing it exactly the same way. And if you haven't been to the fair before, no worries. Basically, the setup, I'll go to the next slide here, is it's 4 fairs over 3 days. So they've divided it by categories of groups. So like on Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m., they've got the academic and professional groups, political groups, and special status agency groups. So you can sort on at UVA all these categories and kind of see which ones pop up. My general recommendation, just to, keep it from being too overwhelming, is maybe to try and find a few groups per fair that you think you might be interested in checking out, and then just prioritize those. But again, if it feels overwhelming at any point, you don't have to wait for the fair to connect with groups. You can message them outside of the fair. The fair is just a great way where they will literally be in like a Zoom call that you can pop in and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, like I saw this about your club, or I'm just interested, what can you tell me about it, what are meetings like, or just hear their pitch kind of formally. But so yeah, definitely encourage you to check it out. It's going to be really great. They've done a really good job organizing it and putting it all together. So definitely wanted you to know about that. I guess before we segue, maybe put a 1 in the chat if you went to the fair in the fall, and a 2 if this is going to be your first UVA fair. Okay, we got some first timers. Awesome. Yeah, well, I'm really excited for y'all. Yeah, they got really good feedback in the fall, and it went really well. If you have any questions or concerns about what that looks like, feel free to put those in the chat too, and we can answer that to the best of our ability. But it's just note too that this is new for all the clubs and for student council as well. So if you're nervous at all jumping into those Zooms, this is new for them too, and they're kind of figuring it out and just really excited to connect with you. And then we also wanted to mention, so obviously there's, a ton of clubs already that exist, but if you have something in mind that you don't see listed, that you're like, oh, this would be really cool, or I'm really surprised that UVA doesn't have, like I was looking for this today, there's no Buddhist club right now. If there's a club that you are passionate about, that you're like, oh, this doesn't exist, there is a process to create your own club. And so student council also runs that process. It's called the organization recognition process. So they have a team that reviews applications, and they are always looking to ensure that groups that are approved are unique and not duplicative of current groups. And we always encourage you, if you have an idea, talk it through with them or talk it through with us, or connect with other groups that currently exist with maybe a similar mission and see if they can partner with you, or if it makes sense to create a subcommittee within that group. Usually you can get up and running a lot more quickly with an idea if you connect with an existing group rather than trying to start something from scratch. But you can also start something from scratch. So the sky's the limit when it comes to creating new clubs and things. And it ranges from probably like 25 to 45 new clubs per semester that are popping up. So just some context for that too.
Yeah, and so apart from joining and creating your own orgs on grounds, there are a ton of other ways that you can stay involved and active in the UVA and Charlottesville communities. The University Programs Council is a programming organization that hosts tons of activities and programs that you can participate in, from craft nights, in not COVID times, there are concerts and trivia. So they have a whole host of different activities and events that you can participate in, and be sure to check out their social media to keep up to date on what they're planning. That's probably going to be their main form of communication, especially this semester. We also encourage you to, explore the Charlottesville community as safely as possible, whether that's, the tons of trails and hiking opportunities in Charlottesville and the surrounding areas, or just like volunteering with an organization in town. Charlottesville is going to be your home for however many years, and it's really important that we continue to pour ourselves into that community as well. Another tip is we try to encourage everyone to connect with as many people as possible, especially now. Join Facebook groups. Don't be afraid to message people, and even message your professors. They will really appreciate just hearing from you about like your interests and how you're excited and have all the questions that you have. And take advantage of all the social media that not just CAOs have, but also departments as well and offices around grounds. Because like I said, that's probably going to be our main form of communication, at least for this semester, and hopefully going forward as well. And finally, running and participating in the university-wide student elections is also an amazing, amazing way to be involved in the community. You might not think that like off the top of your head, but it's a great way for you to have a say in your own student experience. And just like voting is for, state and federal elections, it's really important that you exercise your civic duty. So for the election timeline and other information around elections, please visit studentelections.virginia.edu. The quiz is out for those that want to nominate themselves, but also elections will be held at the end of March. But yeah.
Okay, and we also wanted to share some words of advice that we've collected from your peers. So these are, quotes from your peers, from other UVA students. There's also testimonials on our Instagram page that we definitely encourage you to check out, just students sharing what their involvement experience has looked like. And so they've got some really cool stories to share, but a lot of these themes pop up a lot. So basically, you're not behind. There's plenty of time to get involved. So again, any pressure or feeling like you need to be in a certain number of clubs or have a certain number of friends, or like there's no right or wrong way. So you're not behind. Don't be afraid to fail. Try something, try a club, get involved, and I don't even view this as failing, but like feel it's okay to change your mind or to try things, or then another one talks about not being afraid to quit. So, it's okay to follow your heart and your interests. And if those change, semester to semester or within a semester, that's okay. I graduated in 2012, and there were definitely a few clubs that I was in all 4 years, but then there were some that I just did for a semester or even half a semester that I was like, oh, this is cool. Like went to a couple meetings, but just wasn't in my heart to kind of stay longer. And so it took me some time to kind of figure that out, but that's a common tip that people share. A lot of students don't get heavily involved their first semester, and that's totally okay. So if you're brand new to UVA and figuring things out, we know academics is already a lot, and we know everything is mostly virtual right now. So jumping into, student club meetings can be tough. So a lot of students might just try one club their first semester, and that's awesome. And viewing each semester as a clean slate, and maybe just diversifying what you're involved in. So fun things, academic things, when you are thinking long term with your career, and they're looking for well-rounded individuals that have pursued all of their interests. So don't feel like you have to be super academic with your clubs, but if you're really passionate about the academic clubs, do those. So wanted to point that out too. And then keep in mind that while there are 650 plus student orgs to explore, a lot of students find their niche in Charlottesville outside of UVA too. So a lot of different things in the community to get involved with and connected with. Again, if you don't see a lot or certain clubs that you're interested in, just explore Charlottesville and what that has to offer too. I know Jasmine had kind of touched on that earlier, but the public service website also has a lot of ideas for things in the community to get involved with. Yeah, you're welcome to set up appointments with us, and we're happy to talk about other options. But mostly, just the longer you're here, you'll explore with friends and get a feel for Charlottesville and ways to volunteer and just get plugged into the local community too.
Kind of our final resource or website that we want to provide is definitely something that will be helpful if you're like, finding an org is a little overwhelming. I kind of just want to see what's out there. We have developed a spring events calendar on our website. The calendar hosts a good number of the events and programs happening around grounds. It's definitely not a complete list, but it is a great resource if you're looking for just something random to do on a Friday night, or you are looking for, an activity for you and your friends to do together. Events are submitted constantly, so be sure to be regularly checking in on the calendar, and it's also for departments as well. So if you're looking at departmental things like the School of Music is doing a concert or something like that, that will be on there as well.
So some other ways to connect. Y'all might have heard of some of these already, but there's a few newsletters that we encourage you to subscribe to. So the Wahoo Weekender, UVA Connections, and Wahoo Well. You can literally Google all three of these and it'll pop up with how to subscribe and how to find them. Let me see here. So the Wahoo Weekender is hosted by Adapt, and so it features alcohol-free events happening across UVA over the weekend. So you can subscribe to that just to find something fun to do every weekend. UVA Connections is just another way to find out what's happening across grounds. So that one's a kind of bigger picture one. And then Wahoo Well, that one, it's a well-being, yeah, you meet one-on-one remotely with a well-being facilitator, and I think that one's relatively new, but students have really loved it. So yeah, I encourage you to subscribe to those three for updates about what's happening around grounds, some ways to get connected. And then these are the top Instagram accounts that we recommend: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So Office of the Dean of Students, Multicultural Student Services, Jim Ryan, our office, Student Council. There, yeah, Healthy Who's, Contemplative Sciences Center, is that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Peer Health Educators, Women's Center, the Counseling and Psychological Services one is great. And then UVA.safe is a relatively new UVA campaign related to COVID and safety and student concern. So they're putting a lot of really great content on that one too, that our office is actually sharing as well. So those are the accounts we recommend checking out. Yep. And then, okay, so that is pretty much most of what we wanted to cover today. We thought it might be helpful just to take a minute to think about if you were to set one goal for your involvement journey, thinking through, okay, you've got the whole semester ahead of you. What's one SMART goal? SMART goal is specific and measurable and time bound. So what's maybe one goal that you would want to set for yourselves? And you don't have to, think of it right now, but maybe over the next couple of days, what's one goal that you might want to set for yourself? We thought a good example was saying, okay, I'm going to reach out to 3 club presidents in the next month. And, whether that's messaging them on Instagram or connecting with them at UVA or going to their meeting or saying hello at the activities fair. Just, 3 club presidents that you want to connect with and learn more about their club. So that could be a really great goal, or you could have something totally different in mind, and that's great too. So we just encourage you to set one goal and see where that takes you. And yeah, so with that, do y'all have any questions for us? Is there anything we can do to support you in your involvement journey as you're getting started or getting plugged in new ways? And it's totally okay if not. We just wanted to give y'all an opportunity to ask some questions. Yeah, you're so welcome, Mason. We're so glad to have y'all here. We have recorded this, so we will be putting this on our website so that you or your friends can watch whenever.
And also, if you have questions, our email is studentengagement@virginia.edu. So if you don't even have questions today or even tomorrow, you're more than welcome to email us and we will get back to you. Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys for attending this session today. Hopefully it was super helpful. I know I learned a little bit about student engagement, but I'm hopeful that we will see you all at our session tomorrow, which is with the Career Center, about designing your UVA experience. So we'll be using design thinking to think about goal setting, including involvement, but also thinking about academics and your mentors and other components of your foreseeable future at UVA. And so if you haven't registered yet, that link is on our website, orientation.virginia.edu, and we will see you there. And thanks so much again.